You're watching TVC Breakfast. Nigeria is set for celebration of May 29 as Inauguration Day rather than Democracy Day for the second time after June the 12th was given the honor by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2018. Nigeria's official Democracy Day used to be May the 29th, marking when Olusegun Obasanjo took office as the President of Nigeria in 1999 to end decades of military rule in the country that began in 1966. The long military interregnum was only interrupted by the brief period of democracy from 1979 to 1983. TVC News senior political correspondent Ayodele Ozugbaku in this report examines 21 years of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria.
We are privileged to mark the longest period of unbroken democratic leadership and
until the 6th of June 2018, Democracy Day in Nigeria was held annually on May 29.
Olusegun Obasanjo.
It is used to commemorate the day the military handed over power to an elected civilian government in 1999, marking the beginning of the longest uninterrupted civil rule in the country since 1960.
Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.
As the climax of Independence Day was reached. In handing over the documents to the Federal Prime Minister, Alhaji Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Her Royal Highness handed over sovereignty to a new nation.
Nigeria gained independence from Britain in 1960.
Nation's own green and white flag.
Then fell prey to the first of many military coups on the 15th of January 1966, and then a civil war which lasted from 1967 to 1970. There was a brief moment of democracy from 1979 to 1983 with Alhaji Shehu Shagari as the president.
We have demonstrated this by our individual and collective efforts.
Nigeria's last major military ruler was General Sani Abacha, who died in office in 1998 after ruling for about 5 years.
This action is with immediate effect.
Fellow Nigerians.
His successor, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, promised a transition to democracy, and a new constitution was adopted for the country on the 6th of May 1999.
On the 29th of May 1999. After I've given everybody a sense of belonging.
After the presidential election of February 1999, retired General Olusegun Obasanjo, who had previously governed Nigeria as a military ruler from 1976 to 1979, was declared the president-elect.
Thank you very much. I, Olusegun Obasanjo, do solemnly swear that I will be faithful.
Obasanjo was duly sworn in as president on the 29th of May 1999. Hence, May 29 became official public holiday when Nigerians celebrated the country's return to democracy. On the 6th of June 2018, 8 days after May 29, has been celebrated as Democracy Day, President Muhammadu Buhari declared June 12 as the new Democracy Day in Nigeria.
MKO, MKO, MKO.
June 12 carries huge political significance for Nigeria. It was on this date in 1993 that the presidential election adjudged to be the freest and fairest in Nigeria's political history was held.
It is true that the presidential election was generally seen to be free, fair, and peaceful.
But the election was annulled by the military junta headed by General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and the winner, MKO Abiola, was never given his mandates. Abiola died in suspicious circumstances on the 7th of July 1998, the day that he was due to be released from detention.
June 12th represented an idea that everybody in this country can live together as one, that we can treat ourselves as Nigerians without regard to tribe, ethnic origin, religion.
So, President Buhari's decision to declare June 12 as a new Democracy Day is seen as most significant step taken by any Nigerian leader to address the injustice visited on Abiola and indeed all Nigerians.
representatives of the heads of state and governments.
June 12 will this year be celebrated as Democracy Day in Nigeria for the second time. This change carries heavy symbolism for a country that has witnessed more years of military rule than democratically elected governments.
To the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
May 29 had the honor of being celebrated as Democracy Day in Nigeria until last year, when President Muhammadu Buhari changed the course of history and June 12 became the new Democracy Day. Ayodele Zubakun, TVC News, Lagos.
There is plenty of hope. Nigerians are ready for democracy.
Well, as Nigeria celebrates 21 years of uninterrupted democratic rule, today marks 5 years of the Muhammadu Buhari administration. It has been a journey of challenges and victories for President Buhari and indeed Nigerians. Joining me via Skype from Lagos to discuss 5 years of Muhammadu Buhari's administration is the CEO, CKN News, Kehinde-Nwandu. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much. Very good morning.
Now talk to us. 5 years of Buhari's administration. We began with the change mantra, and then we have now found ourselves in the next level mantra. Talk to us how the journey has been for you so far, what you have seen.
To me, it's a mixed bag. The good, the bad, and the ugly. If I'm to score the government based on the promises they made in 2015, I probably give them an average of about 50%, which is a modest score for me. Because during the campaign, the APC based his campaign on certain criterions. One was that of corruption. Second was that of economy. Then we also look at that of insecurity. So there were other promises. So if we look at it from that point, we can now, looking back 5 years, are we going to say that we've been better than we were pre-2015? Probably not say yes, because if you let's look at the economy. Despite the fact that we have been having serious issues coupled with the current COVID-19 pandemic, I don't think we have done very well in the area of economy. Just yesterday, we are going as far as trying to borrow another $5.5 billion. And our debt, external debt, is rising by the day. The average Nigerian, are we better off pre-2015? I don't think that is the case. Look at the dollar and what is happening. So on that basis, I don't think we've done well. Then if you look at also the area of insecurity, yes, we have improved dramatically from where we are in 2015. Most of the areas that were under the control of Boko Haram are now under Nigeria. But we also had the challenges of the farmers, herders clash. We had serious killings. Now, all over most of the north, we're having banditry and killing on a daily basis. Just some few days ago, in certain states of the north, we have been serious security challenges. So that, for me, is also a major problem. Then if you look at the area of anti-corruption, I would say that we've done relatively well, but most often than not, people have always seen it as an anti-corruption campaign against mostly those in the opposition rather than those in the government, although there have been one or two people from the ruling party that also been...
Your line of thought now, CKN. Let's begin with the economy, for instance. Some would say that the pandemic hit every country in the world. And a lot of persons, even the IMF, had said that there's going to be a recession. Some countries are already in recession. Is there something we could have done differently to avert where we find ourselves now?
Yes, as I said, I said before, I said the pandemic has impeded growth in most part of the country. But When we talk about the pandemic, that's just about 3 months ago. It started in about March, that's in Nigeria. But although it started in January in some other part of the country. So 6 months out of 5 years, we cannot use that to start saying that it has been before then. What have we done? I know that there have been efforts on the part of government to diversify the economy. We are still very much dependent on oil, and that is where we find ourselves today. If the promise to be able to diversify our economy, as the government promised in 2015, has been successful, I don't think we would have found ourselves where we are today. So we are still dependent on oil. Then you cannot talk about the economy without looking at the power sector. I know in 2015, the APC government promised that there's going to be serious improvement in power generation and distribution. In fact, there was at a point that we were promised about 20 megawatts of electricity within certain period. But as of this last week, we've dropped to about 2,500 megawatts from even the 5,000 that we were. So,
but the president just had a deal with Siemens to improve on the electricity sector. Isn't that something one should be confident about, that it would improve that sector?
Well, I pray so, but from my little research, I don't think that Siemens is our best option, because I've not seen where Siemens have been able to handle the issue of distribution. When you talk about hardwares and rest of the, yes, Siemens, but handling distribution of generation, distribution of electricity, I don't think that Siemens is our best option. We have General Electric in the United States that have been doing this for years. I don't know why we didn't go for them. There's also been so many other organizations that are into power generation, distribution, that would have been a better option. So I wouldn't know why the federal government decided to go for Siemens, but let's see how it goes. But don't also forget that we're having serious issues, not only with the generation and distribution, we also have an issue with gas. And that in itself has been giving us a lot of problems. That is why you've seen the drop every now and then. Then also look at the power plants. A lot of them are going down. As of the last count, I think I've closed up by 8 to 10 have gone down. That means also we are not maintaining what we have. So it is a mixed bag and is a very big challenge. Very lot also look at the area of small and medium, the SMEs.
Yes.
How have we been able to encourage the SMEs? We have seen a lot of from the Central Bank of Nigeria, Ministry of Finance, and rest of them. How has that?
But the government, from a recent document, where talking about the 5 years of evaluating the 5 years of President Buhari, talked about how it has created the environment for the ease of doing business.
Yes, I know of that. I know that. Let's start with the CAC. I know that we've really improved with the registration of companies with CAC. That within days you can get companies registered and have your certificates. That is a very good one. And I also know that there will be able to be some kind of reduction in terms of interest rates on loans. That is also very good. But the fact is that those are just a micro. If you look at the larger picture, if you look at what the SMCs are dying in Nigeria. Why? What foremost is the power sector. The SME cannot grow in a situation where we don't have good power system. People now have to depend on their own buying generators and the rest of them to be able to power that. And that in itself is a big problem. If we can improve on our power sector, I can tell you that we're going to do well. But before, let me also say this. The government has improved in the area of transportation, especially in the railway sector. I really commend this government on what they have done so far in that sector. Ordinarily, some other governments, when they come in, they'll discard what the previous government did. This was a sector that was started by the Goodluck Jonathan government, and the Buhari government sustained it, and they're even improving on it. So far, you see what is happening between the Abuja, Kaduna, Aziz, Lagos, Ibadan, and some other places. So in the area of transportation, especially when it comes to railway, we have to give it to this government. They've also done very well. But there's still very room for improvement. We have to look at the possibility of allowing states to be able to look at their various mineral resources. That in itself is a constitutional issue that we should look at. The federal government will start interfacing with the National Assembly so that we can be able to have some level of enactment in terms of allow states to be able to look at the various mineral resources in their states and be able to dig into that and pay certain percentage to the federal government. That is what happened in the First Republic, and that is why some part of the country, especially the Southwest, and some other part of the country, were able to develop to the extent they were.
CKN,
Yes.
we'll have to put you on hold now because we'll definitely be speaking with you for the newspaper review, which will be coming up now. It's time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers, and we still have Chris Kehinde-Nwandu on standby to review the papers with me. So let's begin now with the News Direct. Mixed reactions trail CBN's cut in interest rate to 12.5%. Cut in interest rate to aid banks borrowing from CBN, aid lending to key sectors, analysts, lowest interest rate since May 2016. We move to the Daily Trust now. How bandits killed over 70 in Sokoto, 270 lives lost in 20 deadly attacks. Groups. Assailants give permission for wedding markets. Buhari orders onslaught. Tambuwal to meet president. All right, we move to the front page of the blueprint now. Schools, hotels to serve as isolation centers. PTF says other ailments kill more Nigerians. Insists no remedy until 2021. No valid rapid test kits yet. Global solidarity, only hope for humanity. Buhari. And we move to the front page of the Daily Times. Now, 2020 budget now 10.509 trillion naira as federal government cuts 85 billion naira. To the leadership newspaper, 21 years of uninterrupted democracy. Northern Southern leaders canvass better deal for Nigerians. To the national economy now, federal government drums support for additional sites, $115 billion capital increase achievement. We did not ask him to step down for probe, AFDB shareholders forum. Chris, let's quickly look at the major story on the front page of the blueprint now. This story we have been following, which has to do with COVID-19 pandemic. Schools, hotels are now to serve as isolation centers. That's what the PTF is saying. But before now, the government was touting perhaps home treatment because it was running out of bed spaces. But the concern a lot of Nigerians have is the fact that we have just tested about 5 million people and we're already running out of spaces.
Yes, it's worrisome, but it will definitely come to that. Because if we look at our health facilities prior to COVID-19, some of us have been shouting our voices out that the health sector has not been taken care of. When you look at the indices, you come to realize that most of our health centers are not even are not conducive enough to treat a certain ailment, which is why even our leaders every single moment, once they have any issue with their health, they jump out of the country and just travel out for vets. The situation has made it possible for everybody to remain indoor, for us to be able to look inward and find lasting solutions to the problem we are having. So, if we are going to run out of isolation center, it's expectedly because we are not testing more. But it is not only peculiar to Nigeria. Very, I will tell you for free that in other countries of the world, that's what is happening. So most of the countries are running out of isolation centers and hospitals. Don't forget that the United States of America, a few weeks back, has to deploy a ship, a 1,000-bed hospital ship, 2 of them, to a certain part of the United States to take care of the problem they are having because they were running out of isolation centers and hospitals. And there's also been instances where some high-profile individuals and stars donated their, for example, I'm talking about someone like Ronaldo, who in Portugal donated his hotel as an isolation center, and so many other people have been doing that. So we may have to start resorting to that. But the problem is also that as of now,
when you
so many states,
consider the level of the number of persons tested in comparison with the numbers we have tested so far, one wouldn't we see that there's still this disparity. We haven't gotten to that level they did for them to start running out of spaces.
Well, that's where I was going to. I was going to say that certain states, it's obvious that certain states also haven't gotten their facilities on ground. And also, some states also don't have testing facilities as of now. They have to rely on NCDC and the rest of them. Then the issue we're also having on controversy surrounding whether we are testing well or we are not testing well. Some certain states deny the fact that they are having COVID-19 patients and so. Then, but the issue is that even at that, I don't think we are testing enough. If you see the number of tests we had so far, compared to the number of Nigerians, a population of over 200 million people, I don't think we've done enough. And in the days to come, we might still have more people.
It is our choice of using schools, for instance, saying that the government has begun to tout perhaps resumption any moment and looking at putting measures in place to ensure the safety of children. Is our choice of schools the right way to go?
The choice of school for me is the no-go area. The no-go area. If we're going to resume schools, then definitely it means that if you are using schools, that means some schools may not be open, so if that is what it means. And so I have some challenges with that. But I believe that we can create more isolation centers. But look at what happened in Kano with the high level of COVID patients that we have in Kano. The main isolation center that we were supposed to that opened recently, we saw videos coming in from Kano where the whole place has been dismantled and the rest of them. It doesn't show some level of seriousness on the part of government, especially those at the state level. I think they need to do more. We need to do more. But if it comes to we using certain facilities, I think we should be able to do that. Don't forget the EFCC some days back donated a facility in Lagos to the Lagos state government. I think we can be able to replicate that in some of the other states. And but for schools, it might be difficult. If we're using school, that means schools may not be able to open as quickly as possible as we're looking at it. So in terms of hotels, that may cost more because you got to pay. Even don't forget that some hotels refuse to take in Nigerians from diaspora that just returned from that were just extradited to Nigeria due to stigmatization. Some states and some hotels vehemently refuse to allow their facilities to be used. The Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs have challenges in securing hotels. So I don't know where they're going to get the hotels from, and I don't know which hotels they're going to use. But what I think is that we should continue to open more facilities in the state, if it's going to be on temporary basis.
All right,
and this is where
Siken, we have to leave the conversation here now. Thank you so much for speaking with us.